we often, when we pick our characters when we're playing PvP in Ark, we pick black characters, and it's not, any kind of racially motivated thing. It's like it makes sense to make your character easier to hide. And if I was going to pick somebody to
Welcome gamers, non-gamers, PvEers, PvPers, and even NPCs. This is the New Wave Gaming Podcast, episode 51. Right, Chuck?
That's right.
This is ChukTomahawk, the most awesome co-host, podcast host could have. And I'm Ovox here. And happy Father's Day out there to all the papas.
Heck yeah. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. And yeah, we were just actually talking about this. I thought this was episode 52, which I've noticed in the last few episodes, I've had a pattern of going up one. Maybe not maybe we haven't actually talked about it on the mic with the mic recording, but when we are pre-talks, I have this pattern of going, what? So this is 32, right, Chuck? You're like, no, man, this is 31. Like, oh yeah. And then a couple weeks go by.
I think it's just a way of positivity that you do, because I feel like when we were playing GTA there and we were setting up those, we would have 5 of setup missions to do, and you'd be like, we got one more, don't we? We've actually got 4 more.
And there's a 3-hour difference, and I'm going to bed. So yeah. We'll attack this at another time.
We need one more. So,
that's
but
funny.
they're going quick. It blows my mind though when you look at most podcasts. How the hell do they get to 502 and shit like that?
Well, it's funny you mention that, and there's. And they say out there, I've heard this come from a lot of people. I don't know who the first person to say this was, but, in regard to having a podcast or a YouTube channel, or, you're an influencer or a content creator of some sorts. There are people out there that have immediate success, but the majority of these things, it seems like when we discover them, we feel like they began when we discovered them, regardless of the number that may be there, or the YouTube video that it might be. We kind of have this, especially if you're beginning to do something of that nature, like we did with our podcast, it feels like those, how did they get there so far? How are they so popular? How do they have so many episodes? But because our brain in some weird way is assuming that they've only been around as long as maybe we have with our podcast.
Since we noticed.
But going back to what that's saying is, it's something along the lines of not comparing your beginning to someone else's middle.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the matter of the fact is, especially with a lot of our favorite podcasts, like we were mentioning, how do they get to 500 and 1,000 and all these crazy amount of episodes? It's because they've been doing it for years, man.
Yeah.
A podcast that I think we both enjoy a ton is Theo Vaughn's podcast this past weekend.
Uh-huh.
He's mentioned it here and there, but he's been doing that for a long time, man.
True.
And yeah, they have a following as it is. A lot of these people as comedians or celebrities of some sort. So yeah, there's definitely a boost there.
Yeah,
but
that's a lot of content, man. Lord have mercy. With you think if you just do one a week, that's 52 a year. So for that to add up to, into the hundreds of them, it takes years.
Yeah,
a decade.
Yeah. So on that, pivoting, but that kind of a segue is, anyone out there, if you enjoy the pod at all, please show us some love. It helps us a ton just to get out to more people and to grow and to get out to more fellow gamers out there. Any support you throw our way is greatly appreciated, especially those ratings and reviews on your favorite podcast platforms.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. But so speaking about gaming, were we speaking about gaming? I guess we weren't really, but going back to gaming.
It's a gaming podcast. The context is implied.
Dude, according to Spotify, not only are we a gaming podcast, but we're also like a comedy and society podcast, which I kind of like was like, that's a compliment.
Yeah.
I'd love for us to be considered a comedy podcast. I kind of think we are. We have moments where at least we crack up.
For sure. Yeah.
Right? You say some shit sometimes, Chuck, where your Southern Tennessee comes out hardcore and it just fucking cracks me up, man.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Lean on it, Chuck. Lean on it.
Yeah.
Hey, so how about, do you have any interest in this Assassin's Creed Shadows?
Assassin's Creed Shadows. I saw.
Or is it Shadow? I don't remember if it's Shadow or Shadows.
Around that. I think for me, like games where I've had to traditionally be kind of quiet and slip around have always been tough for me, especially when I was younger. It was really hard for me to appreciate those. But
like stealth style games.
Yeah, for sure. And I remember though, man. Like several Assassin's Creed games back, like being at Best Buy, I think maybe when the PlayStation 4 had just came out, and like seeing it on there, and like just being amazed by like the movement and like I was kind of waiting my turn to get to try it out, kind of thing, and yeah, it looked super exciting.
You mean like when the protagonist of the game would like be parkouring around and stuff? Is that what you're talking about?
I think what actually at that time it was like some kind of zip line type situation, and just being like, wow, and,
Look at that.
In the context of like having not witnessed those graphics yet, kind of like when we're seeing stuff now on the PS5, that type of moment for the PS4. Fuck. No, like tell me a little bit about it. So.
I don't know a whole bunch. I remember playing and I'm not an Assassin's Creed aficionado. I played the first one. I think. Was it on the PS4? I feel like it may have been even before that, man. But anyways, because there's been so many, right? Like how many Assassin's Creed games have there been? Let me pull that up real quick, just for fun. How many Assassin's Creed games are there? Well, that came up quick. Just a quick search brings up that there's 13 main installments. Right?
Jeez.
13. The most recent being Assassin's Creed Mirage in 2023. And of course, in November, it looks like, November is when they've announced the release of Shadows. I think it's Shadows because there's 2 characters. But anyways, I played the first one, I think. When did the first one came out? First released November 13, 2007. What did it release on? It must have been, that must have been like the PlayStation 2 or the 3 or something. Anyways, I'm not going to...
Fuck.
I'm not going to...
2024.
It's not coming up quick, so I don't want to spend too much time trying to look at that. Anyways, I played that first one, and it stood out to me because of the parkour and because the storyline was fascinating to me because I love history. You know that.
Yeah.
Chuck T. So yeah, but I don't know why the replayability for me never stuck. There was a lot of buy-in, as you've always described it, Chuck. The buy-in was high, but for me the replayability, I remember I don't think I actually beat the game. I didn't complete the game, but I enjoyed it. With Shadows, I think there's, for me, because I'm obsessed with Japanese culture, it's in Japan. And it's in Japan right during that, when is it? The Sengoku Warring States period, which is right around there, around 1600, the year 1600, and a little bit before. I think the actual... The Battle of Sekigahara happened in the year 1600 exactly, I think. Pretty sure. I might be wrong there. Don't quote me on that. Definitely not a historian. But so it immediately caught my attention because of that. And I think it's fair to say that at least us, we haven't really been playing that style of game lately.
No.
What would that style of game be? I don't even know. I guess it's like a obviously it's a not first person. It's a single player rather. Sorry, it's a single player. I mean, they've always been third person, so I'm assuming they're keeping that
like an RPG, like a role playing.
Yeah,
game?
like role playing. Yeah, it's an RPG. But it looks like going back to what you're saying about stealth. It looks like this one's gonna kind of offer two different styles of gameplay. I believe is the intention, where you can play as a samurai or a shinobi, which AKA ninja, which is cool, right? Yeah. Giving you the option. And I think that's pretty sick. And man, you look at the graphics and everything, and of course, I think we're so used to seeing, when they announce games in the trailers, do they not always look sick?
Yeah, they do.
I mean, it could be a game that you have zero interest in playing, and they have a way of making these damn trailers just look insane, man.
Yeah, especially with, like you say, the parkour. And then one of the things I think of too, I feel like they are, like you mentioned, a little like they put some effort into being historically correct, and especially with weaponry. I feel like I've seen them on that show Forged in Fire a few times, like where they'll be like, here, where our contestants for the final round are going to make the Chuba Kubre. And it's like some kind of really weird ass sword. And it's like, this as seen in the game Assassin's Creed. And like, yeah, they'll show like a part of that, because it's just some obscure weapon from history that, there's just not a lot of modern day examples of where you'd see it other than a museum or something. And
dude, that's and I love that. In fact, to that point, I'm also a podcast freak. I love podcasts, and I was looking for some new stuff, kind of like with history and Japan and all of that. And I've actually been really fascinated with this time period of Japan's history, when with the shoguns and everything. And when Tokugawa Ieyasu became like the unifying shogun after like Oda Nobunaga basically did all the hard work. He did all the fucking battle and slaying and conquering, and then Homeboy kind of came in and just like, ate the cake. Obviously, it's more complicated than that, but so anyways, I found this podcast, which I think it's part of the Noiser podcast network, and they do a lot of like really good history stuff. And let me see if I can find it real quick. If you're tuned in and listening, you like podcasts, so here's a good one for you. It's called Echoes of History. Oh, I think I got a hair in my mouth. There, we're good. Sorry. I had to handle that.
Yeah, get on a bone.
Yeah, it's called Echoes of History, and it says, dive into the real-life history that inspires the locations, characters, and storylines of the legendary world of Assassin's Creed. And it's sick, dude, because it looks like, I haven't listened to all of it, but it looks like they go through all of the Assassin's Creed games and have on like real historians and stuff, and they just talk about, all that stuff. So in this case with Shadows, they talk a lot about that period that I was just describing. The Civil War in feudal Japan, the Sengoku period, the unification of Japan, Portuguese missionaries in Japan, and then they talk about Yasuke, the first African samurai. Uh-huh. Which is the main character, one of the main characters in this new game. And Pepe Tortilla was mentioning, maybe you might be able to add to this. I don't know if you've seen it, because I know you're on TikTok a lot, following all the latest. But I guess there was, controversy around that. I don't want to call it controversy necessarily, but a lot of people out there going like, "What's up with the samurai being black?" Kind of how they,
Yeah, and I think it's like some. There's been some examples lately of like wokeism, as you might want to call it, or whatever. Like just going too far. I think the biggest is that Google AI thing, like where it kind of had this. Where they made it wasn't exactly like a language AI. It was more like it could make a picture for you, and when you ask it to make a picture of like a Native American or whatever, it would come out black, just because like they had obviously skewed the software to diversity and inclusion so much that you couldn't make a picture, of anything else really.
I see.
And
I see.
it just did eventually kind of loses itself. I would say one of my biggest issues with situations like that is when they seem to lose their audience, like where we're doing diversity inclusion in a place where the people that they're representing aren't necessarily a large portion of the audience. And I don't know about that. I feel like gaming is one place where the races seem fairly all represented too. I think.
Oh yeah, and then I mean, even things that aren't even human are represented.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, no, and I mean, that's a whole topic, right? That whole thing, and I can see where there's lots of discussion to be had in certain franchises, or in Google or in AI, and where, maybe I don't know, idealism could have an influence on stuff where it doesn't need to be necessarily, whatever. Anyways, that's a whole deep topic, right? But in this case, going back to Assassin's Creed Shadows, Yasuke, the African samurai, was an actual, like, at least according to what I've seen and studied and investigated, was an actual real person that actually was a samurai. He was appointed a samurai by Oda Nobunaga, and I think he even became the Hatamoto of Oda Nobunaga, which is like the banner bearer and the sword bearer, which is like an extremely high up, like super honorable, respectful, like fucking top shelf position,
Yeah.
Because he's the guy that gets to be around the daimyo, Oda Nobunaga. He never did become shogun, but Oda Nobunaga, like, he was right there, like, with him the whole time. That's like
that checks out to me. I mean, if I feel like I'd love to see like race and color get to this place, because like we often, when we pick our characters when we're playing PvP in Ark, we pick black characters, and it's not any kind of racially motivated thing. It's like it makes sense to make your character easier to hide. And if I was going to pick somebody to, like, hide in the shadows or whatever, I feel like
you're not going to pick fucking
got a leg up already. Like,
it's just a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, from a practical universal sense, like. Yeah. I don't go to like some ginger redheaded Irish dude, like
hey, man,
a lot of my family or whatever, and like, yeah, we'd be like pasty white.
Like, you're looking at me right now, and I'm fucking translucent, dude. It is. I live in Mexico. This is a disadvantage.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah. You just see you like in the ninja training school, like supposedly hidden, or whatever. And they're all just, the rest of the ninjas are just shaking their heads, like, yeah.
Yeah, they've all got these like super silent like booties on, and I'm walking around in OXO flip flops,
like,
dude. Just
he tries so hard, but.
Okay. Anyways.
Yeah. I mean,
so, dude.
Checks
out. Yeah. And when Pepe Tortilla was like, yeah, there's like, a little bit of controversy around it. And for me, it was just like, this isn't the place to bring any of that, because this was an actual, and granted, I haven't played the game yet, and I'm sure that it's not like super historically accurate. And of course, it's a fictional game, because like they're inspired by history. But I'm excited to see the game come out. I might even pull the trigger on that, just because if it's got samurais in it, or like ninja stuff, or anything related to like martial arts or Japanese culture, dude, you're
there. Huh?
I'm there.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, I don't need to tell you how badass Ghost of Tsushima is.
Yeah. But isn't there like a Shogun Netflix, like show on Netflix? Have you seen that? I know it's not video game related, but I just saw somebody like hyping that up. There's this author.
The question
Jason
is
Pargin,
how come you haven't seen it?
This author Jason Pargin that I like was hyping it up. He was saying, if you like Game of Thrones, like, he was like, this is like not getting the hype it should. Like, this should have the hype of Game of Thrones, is essentially what he's saying, because it's nice.
Oh, dude, dude, fuck. And okay, so thank you for bringing up Shogun, because Shogun is based on real history. And Shogun is a series that recently came out. If you haven't seen it, see it. It's really good.
I'm gonna then, yeah.
Dude, Chuck, dude.
Couple recommendations.
Chuck, couple. I was the first one to send you, like, didn't I? Or maybe I didn't, and I'm on. Maybe I'm tripping.
This guy's a published author, though. I mean, come on.
I'm your co-host. We're published too.
True. Yeah. I said it's two, solid recommendations. I put you right up there with them.
So Shogun series came out recently that is, is based on the novels that were written by James Clavell. There was a series of books that he did, but I think it was the first one, was called Shogun. And man, great show, great book. Obviously, the book has way more detail to it. Definitely, if you like to read or if you're into audiobooks, maybe you can, watch it or hear it first, whatever order you want. You're going to love it. But the book and the series are based on real history. And basically, I don't want to spoil it for you, but this Dutch pilot, captain, they used to call them pilots. They were on a trade/pirate ship called the Erasmus. And basically, they're trying to take this specific route to make it to, I don't know, I forget where they were trying to make it to, but they eventually crash land on what they called the Japans. They make it to the Japans.
Nippon.
And on the show, the guy in the book and on the show, the guy's name is John Blackthorne. But John Blackthorne and the ship and the whole Shogun series is based on an actual pilot, ship navigator that actually did crash land on Japan. And God, I'm trying to remember the name of the real dude. Let me bring it up real quick. God, I know his name, but I always forget it when I need to remember it. John Blackthorne. Okay, yeah, the real person in real life that crash landed over there, his name is William Adams. I think it is here. Let me double check, make sure I saw that right. Yeah, William Adams. And anyways, he was an English... Okay, in real life, he was an English navigator, it looks like, according to Wikipedia. But, dude, so it's based on real history. And what's fascinating, dude, is, at least to me, is that the game has Yasuke, which was, the Black Samurai, really actually existed, became the Hatamoto of Oda Nobunaga. And that was, right there towards the, let's call it the 1580s, 90s-ish, I guess. And then they were doing all the battling and the warring. And at the same time, Tokugawa Ieyasu, who inspired the actual Shogun character in the book and in the game, he was kind of like a commander of Oda Nobunaga, dude. So they were alive at the same time, right? Because when Oda Nobunaga died, Tokugawa Ieyasu took over. They were a team, they were allies, and he goes ahead and takes over. So I don't know what happens to Yasuke once Oda Nobunaga dies, but what I believe is possible is that the character that plays John Blackthorne or William Adams in real life must have met or maybe had met Yasuke, the Black Samurai, because in real life, William Adams, the white English sailor that crash landed, he also became a Hatamoto of Ieyasu once he did become Shogun. I know that all, I just totally jumbled that up and it didn't make any sense. But what I'm trying to say here is that when the Black Samurai dude, Yasuke, became a Hatamoto, it wasn't much after that the Oda Nobunaga guy died and his commander took over, with his commander having the English dude as his Hatamoto. So long story short, summarizing all of this is, I think that the main character from Shogun, John Blackthorne, inspired by William Adams, probably met Yasuke, the Black Samurai. That's. I mean, sorry, I totally just babbled that all out. But
it's legitimately historically correct for that to be in the game, and
yeah, I guess what I'm getting at with that whole controversy thing that Pepe Tortilla brought up is that, you know, I didn't really look into it. I don't know what's being said out there. Is what I'm saying is it's unfounded, because they're not, unless there's more to it than what I've just heard on the surface. They didn't make that decision to be woke. They made that decision because it's probably an endpoint for them to create a game around an actual historical fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like they didn't say, oh, let's make this game inspired by these times, but fuck it, let's make the main guy black. You know, no, they're like, no, Yasuke was a black samurai. I mean, that's just a fact.
Yeah.
And it's awesome, dude. It's super sick. I think it's so sick. It's badass. Dude, I don't know, like if something I heard about William Adams, the guy that inspired the character for John Blackthorne, is that, you know, when he crash landed on the Japans and became, you know, was spared and wasn't like freaking head sliced off immediately and everything, because pirating is extremely illegal back then, as it is now. You know, he was spared and he became a hatamoto and was granted a fief, you know, land. Fiefdom. And he was granted a salary and concubines and a wife and everything. But he always wanted to go home. He always wanted to leave, is according to what I've understood. Like that the white dude that became a hatamoto always wanted to go back. Mm. And I just thinking to myself, like me personally, be like, dude, I'd be so stoked, man. Freaking named a samurai by like the main dude, and, you know, getting my own swords and, like, you know, just that'd be so sick, dude.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know,
no doubt.
And I wonder what the black samurai dude, Yasuke, I wonder what his, because based off what I've learned about this story, is that he had a similar experience in a way, in the way that he was named a hatamoto, he was given like land and money, and like he had a Japanese wife and all that stuff. But I have a feeling that he must have just been stoked, dude. Because I'm pretty sure he was like effectively a slave before that.
Fuck.
Yeah, like if I remember correctly, I'm probably jumbling this up a little bit, but like, you know, it was when the Portuguese were coming in a lot, and I think some Portuguese came in, and there was like, you know, Yasuke was there, this black guy, and I guess like, I think Oda Nobunaga, who was like the lead warring daimyo, like met him and was like, whoa, a black guy. This person looks way different than all of the people here, you know, and was like, wanted to have a relationship, get to know this person, and basically said like, hey, can this guy just stay with me? And Yasuke ended up staying. You know, I guess the Portuguese must have like given him or freed him or whatever, you know. I don't know the circumstances there, but he stayed behind with Oda Nobunaga, and freaking, you know, if he was a slave, he definitely wasn't a slave after that. And not only that, but became, again, the hatamoto, which is like, you know, sick. It's epic. I can't think of like what an equivalent would be in modern times, because it's just not, I don't think there is one. But again, it was just like a very prestigious position to hold, to be a daimyo or a shogun's hatamoto. Whew. Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, that's interesting. Anyways, that they're including that in the game.
Yeah. And you know, and we haven't even mentioned the co-protagonist in the game, the young lady that is a shinobi ninja, you know, which is from the shinobi. There's a lot of cool history behind that too, man. Like during that whole time when Oda Nobunaga, which again was the person in command of Yasuke, this protagonist in the game, the black ninja, when he was, you know, in the Civil War, conquering all of these lands, getting daimyos to join him to, you know, to unify Japan, there was this one province that he wasn't really like concerned about, but that like still it needed to come under the, you know, it needed to come under the control of Oda Nobunaga, and it was this province called Iga, which I think is about just a little southeast of Kyoto. And it's this province that's surrounded by mountains, dude. It's kind of like, it's in this, like, you know, it's surrounded. It's very protected. That's why this Iga province was kind of under a different we'll call it a social political like organization. There wasn't like a leader of these people. They were kind of like a communally organized, like they all had a communal understanding, and they weren't really like subject to any daimyo or anything like that, or any show, anything like that. So, but Oda Nobunaga was like, these people are kind of just over there doing their thing. We're eventually going to have to handle them, but they weren't really like an issue, So the son of Oda Nobunaga, I don't remember his name, but he decides to go try and like conquer this region, this province, and get these people under the whole, into the scene, and that he was going to do that to kind of like prove to his dad, like, hey, I took care of this for you. But this province of the Iga province with these people, they're not just chilling over there. They have their own set of knowledge and skills of being like wilderness type people, and like very they know how to take care of themselves, what be it in a peaceful way or in a defensive way, and they were kind of known for having these skill sets, and these people from the Iga province would come to be known as shinobi. These are where the ninjas come from.
Oh shit.
Yeah, dude. There's a lot of fascinating and look, the whole, I don't want to turn this episode into a history episode, but there's obviously a lot of dramatization and stuff that over the years have been kind of like added into the legend of the ninjas, right? Like they don't use shuriken ninja stars, and they're not these like super like covered up, blacked out, like it wasn't really like that. But they were, skilled in like in moving sneakily and secretly and accomplishing these like missions and objectives and things that otherwise would be considered like dishonorable, right, by the samurai.
Damn.
So, anyways, homeboy, the son of Oda Nobunaga, tries to go, take this province, and he fails epically. Barely makes it out alive, I guess. Makes it back to his dad. His dad's like, dude, you're a dumbass. What the fuck were you thinking? Blah, blah, blah. And eventually he goes in there proper with like a lot of people, and they end up conquering that province, and they end up using the shinobi later for other stuff. But there's just, yeah, dude.
Damn.
It'll be cool to see how the game, what the story is. And I'm sure that information's already out there, and I haven't done a whole bunch of digging into it. It just looks like it's going to be a fun Assassin's Creed. I think they also plan on bringing back a lot of old mechanics from the original games, from the earlier games rather. And yeah, we'll see. With me personally, and I don't know about you, but going back to what we started with, is that it's a style of game that we just haven't really been playing that much lately.
No, and I won't say I never will, but yeah, I've been more into open world kind of survival. But and you kind of hit on the replayability. I feel like, excuse me, one of my issues with like the sneaking around is ultimately I end up in some hard part of the game where I have to do that shit over and over. There's like one part where it's really hard, and you got to get it just right, and like eventually there's just some point where I'm like I'm just not doing that again, and 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 maybe that's more like than a replay ability, like more just like a stopping point. I feel like in all these games, like they're we talked about that on an episode back, like games. What is it? I forget the terminology they used for it. When what causes you to quit. Noping out or whatever was like when we were talking about scary games and stuff. But yeah, there's certain moments in games like Elden Ring obviously has it for a lot of people. Like like where you're eventually like, this is just too hard. Like I have 150 hours to learn how to tuck and roll till I don't get fucking killed by this 30 times larger than me fucking.
That's so true. Yeah.
No, and I don't know, man. I think I'm still going to think of the ninjas the original way, man. That's pretty deep in like my core story, dude. I was obsessed with ninjas when I was a kid, like starting with Storm Shadow and the G.I. Joe fucking, and that's pretty much how it was presented. Like throwing stars.
Yeah.
The fucking, you knew the good ninja was in white and the the bad ninja was in black. Like they pretty much kept that, uniform. Like you could tell who the good guys were.
And I think that's why they're introducing a 2-player or 2-character like interchangeable playing kind of a situation here with this new game, so that you can choose to be stealthy using the female character, which I forget. I don't remember her name. And I think you can, unless the storyline requires you to play as a certain character, you can play entirely as the shinobi ninja girl or entirely as Yasuke, the samurai. And of course, if you're playing as the samurai, there's no sneaking around about it, dude. It's full like slash cut, frontal attack. Like, you probably even do a little bow before taking the guy's head. Like, oh, it has been an honor. Shing, freaking off with his head, And then with the shinobi ninja chick, dude, she's probably gonna be, just like you were saying, you don't enjoy as much, sneaking around, a couple shuriken ninja stars, bad guys go down, sneaking around, quick little freaking dagger to the neck, sneaking around, And then if you play as Yasuke, you're opening the front door, unsheathing the sword, letting out a samurai scream and going full like,
saber red.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Explain to me how these guys can like I feel like something you don't see here in America is like they can rock the man bun and still be like a badass, and like I don't see many people doing that over here. Like, the man bun's usually a But you see them dudes, man, they've got like.
You mean when they have like the hair standing straight up on the back?
That's kind of its own thing, but I feel like not that it's probably historically correct, but I feel like you see a lot of versions of some kind of man bun going on.
Well, if we're speaking of that time frame, of course there were many types of different haircuts, but you'd see the one where they'd have a full head of hair, but it'd be tied back tight, and they'd have like the hair maybe in a bun, depending on like what the situation called for. But usually if it were in kind of like a formal situation, it'd be fully tied back, and it wouldn't be in a bun, but it'd be kind of like standing straight up, like kind of just like, wrapped, but standing up, not in like a ball bun type of thing, but just a straight up thing. Or they'd have it straight up and then they'd tie it down forward, coming back forward over the front. And according to I'm going to be 100% transparency. I saw this on a YouTube video, but it seemed legit. But according to this Japanese person, he was saying that the reason that they did that, no bullshit, was to provide a bit of cushion for when they would use their headgear, be it their helmet for battle or any of their other, headgear, regalia type stuff, because they did have a lot of types of like headgear for different situations. And their hair would act as like a pad. No bullshit. That's what, and it makes, Well,
if you
and then of course the other one you'd see is where they'd have only hair on the sides, and then everything up here would literally be just completely shaved off the top side. Have you seen that as well?
Yeah, I thought they were just balding or something. Like they do that on purpose.
On purpose.
That's the look they're going for.
Dude, I don't think Japanese people bald, bro.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess I would say I've never seen one, but I always thought those guys were.
I mean,
so that was
I'm sure there's
thing.
cases, but you know how like some ethnic groups of people are just not prone to X or Y or Z things that another ethnic group of people are. Like I don't like Japanese people just are not like, and I think a lot of Asian people in general just are not hairy, for example. Like they're just not. Yeah.
Well,
and we're otherwise us, Eastern European or Western European descending type of bloodlines. We got a lot of hair. Like, look at my face.
We're haired up.
I'm haired up.
Interesting.
I mean, I dodged a bullet by not having a bunch of hair on my back. Nothing against hair on the back, but I'm gonna dodge one there. I think that was good.
Have you seen those studies like where a beard actually kind of keeps you from getting knocked out? They seriously, dude. They did like force tests and stuff, like Mythbusters kind of style, like where, there's this theory that that was kind of the evolution of the beard. Like it was, you can imagine. Like I think if I had to take an uppercut from Mike Tyson, with a ZZ Top beard or not, I'd go for the beard, pretty much.
Well, ZZ Top beard, you'd want to have a.
Yeah,
that's a beard though. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think if you gave John Jones a shot at a I don't know. I don't know if the beard's gonna help. You'll have to look it up. I want to say I've heard this.
Yeah. I forget, it was on some kind of podcast too, probably. The hair probably helped too, a little bit if you're taking a shot to the head. And if they're lopping off a bunch of heads, like cleanup later would be super easy. Like you just come by, grab those fucking tassels or whatever. You probably carry 10, 12 of them.
Dude. So you haven't seen Shogun?
No.
You got to check out, dude. You're going to love it, man.
I watch a lot of Netflix and that kind of stuff.
It's not on Netflix. You'll have to find it on Hulu or Disney Plus.
Oh, no shit.
But it did so well that they pretty much almost immediately greenlighted a second and third season, which is interesting because there's not any book material to base it off of. There was just one book. There was a series of books, but they were in different. I think it's called the Asian Saga, and only one of them was in Japan, which was this one about Shogun. So any second or third season, they're going to have a lot of flexibility to get creative with the story, while hopefully sticking to, at least a little bit, sticking to the historical, narrative. Because they may not have any book to base it off of anymore, or to use as kind of like a guide. But since the book was based off of actual history, they can at the very least go, okay, well, we can't kind of follow James Clavell's storyline anymore. We did that successfully. But we can follow his inspiration, which was real history, and look at real history to create season 2 and season 3. Dude. Yeah, man. I wonder if there's any.
When they start using AI, they're going to be like, create a character that has the knowledge of that guy. And remember that episode of The Next Generation when Geordi took that scientist woman chick and freaking got her to help him solve that shit, and she came along, the real one came along, she was all pissed. She was like, "You fucking perv, what you been doing in here?"
What have you been doing with the holodeck, creep?
Yeah, you've been making out with it. They kind of fell in love and shit.
Dude, what was her name? Doctor,
what the fuck you been doing in here? Like, it's what he's like, yeah. So, dude, I don't think we're very far from, like you say, plugging that in and saying, like, do it in the style of that. Like, what's so weird is we thought we were going to be sitting around having robots, like, do the mundane things like clean our houses, and we would have time to do art. But now it's like the robots are going to be doing the art, and we're going to be sitting around, like, oiling them and making sure they're plugged in and shit. Fuck.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I think a lot of it's also, who knows? Who knows? That's a deep one to get into. AI.
It's gonna. I think it'll speed up like creating games like this. Like you can imagine. Like there'll be tasks that they can give them and.
Oh yeah, for sure. But they can't. They got to keep a little bit of keep the reins a little bit.
Yeah.
Because But anyways, yeah, man. That's Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see if I pull the trigger on that, because I've just never really gotten too into the Assassin's Creed games. But there's, again, like with the whole samurai and shinobi and it being based right in that most fascinating, at least to me, period of the Japanese history. Man, it's gonna be a hard one for me not to pull the trigger on.
Yeah.
But it's still a ways out though. November.
Fuck. Christmas time.
But I mean, that's all I was kind of interested in talking about. Really, was Assassin's Creed.
Did you see there's
Shadows?
like an expansion pack coming out for Elden Ring?
I did.
That got just
I
announced.
did.
Yeah.
I did, and a lot of people are excited about that. What's up with your interest in Elden Ring, man? Do you have it?
I think what's got it, like, it's just been showing up like a ton on social media because that one streamer I was telling you about before that did it, I think his name's Kai or what, he decided he was going to.
You told me about
without
this.
stopping or whatever.
Yeah, tell everyone, just in case they didn't hear the story.
I don't know if I remember the full specifics, but the gist of it is that, you know, he just, like popular streamer, decides he's going to beat Elden Ring and not sleep, you know, or not go off stream until he does or whatever. And yeah, it took him like freaking, I want to say 170 hours or something crazy like that. That maybe that's a little bit high, but
Didn't you tell me that like he tried once and like fell asleep after a little bit?
he did.
And, like, everyone...
like he didn't necessarily say he wasn't going to sleep, but he stayed on stream, you know, during that time, and like so he didn't sleep long. Like he slept, you know, a few hours at a time or whatever.
That's insane.
Power
dude.
through it, and then that got other people doing, you know, since then, like that got other people playing, and yeah, it's just like my interest honestly is to watch people have that breakdown when the boss is just stupid hard. Like I like that. There's obviously one point where you beat the boss and then it has like a second phase and you don't know that till they've done that a few times in that game, it seems, and God, that really gets people. They're just like, no, God, no.
I think I've already mentioned this before, but when I played it, it took me so long to beat the first boss, man. And the first boss is just like right up the path a little bit. You know, you spawn in and you can go any which way you want, but you can, you know, you kind of, there's like a kind of like a guiding light. Tells you which way to go to complete the storyline, and you know I'm going that way, and then I come across the first boss, dude, and I don't remember how many damn tries it took me to beat the bitch, dude. She's some like weird like warlock witch that's on this bridge, and you got to get past her, and you can't pass her until you beat her, of course. And it fucking just, and after that I was like, I remember going, I'm gonna come back to this game, and that was a few years ago. Or whatever.
When I'm a person with patience.
And yeah, and that's the thing. I do love those games, that style of game, like I do, but I don't know, maybe I'm just in this phase of gaming in my life where I have a whole lot more fun playing also survival games and multiplayer games and games where we're all in a chat together and working on a collective like task, you know, or we're all kind of working towards a goal together. It is a hell of a lot of fun. But every now and then, dude, I do enjoy the hell out of like a single player, you know, story run game, like where there's a beginning and an end, you know, a really tightly defined beginning and an end. I do enjoy them. Yeah. But it's like a quick flare that goes out fast, you know.
Oh God, you hear people talking about it, and the guy's like, I mean, even the fact that I said that took that dude 170 hours, like I look at that and I'm like, so you didn't like it, huh? Like, I got 2,000 hours in this shit over here.
Yeah,
like, you know,
and that was just on Ark Survival Evolved, not to mention Ascended.
Yeah. It's, you know, it's getting high when you kind of want to lie about it. Like you don't really want to like yeah.
When you know that it's a problem and you don't want to be honest with yourself.
I've spent the equal amount of time watching videos on YouTube about it, and you know, sitting here talking about it right now. Like, yeah, you're right. There's a lot. I need smoke in here. I feel like I need to get some obsidian right now. Dude, we're getting close to having another boss fight.
Yeah, we are. We're real close. I can see it happening, you know, sometime this week or next weekend at the latest.
We're going to be swimming in an element.
we'll be able to transmit from server to server without needing to go to an obelisk or a drop.
Man, that'll be the nice part. Making that stuff. But none of that, I did, do like a little bit of a search, like what is going on. I know there's something like a summer thing where they announce a bunch of games right now. It's sort of like the new most popular thing since E3 sort of bit the dust. But
what's it called?
Really. It's like it's got summer in the name. I apologize for not like having it any better.
Well, look it up.
I've got it right here.
Yeah. That way we can keep an eye out for it and see what they're going to be throwing our way.
Summer Games Fest.
There we go.
With the traditional E3 conference now a thing of the past, the Summer Games Fest has become the central event for game announcements and updates. This more informal and decentralized event showcases the upcoming games and industry trends.
Nice. Oh, we'll be able to get some episodes out of that then.
Yeah, I want to say it may have already happened. Like it kind of happens right at the beginning of the summer sometimes. So yeah, we might look into that. But yeah.
Right on. Well, let's keep an eye out for the Summer Games Festival. Or did it already happen then?
Let me look up what the date on this one is.
I mean, it probably not yet, right? Summer Games Fest 2024. It's going to be... Oh, no, it did. That was on June 7th, it looks like.
Yeah, so last week.
Ah, man, we're all announcing stuff that has already happened, dude. God, this is the best gaming podcast there is out there.
It's it's going down. E3's no more, man.
Okay. All right, well, awesome. Let's wrap it up here. Episode 51 of the New Wave Gaming Podcast. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Hope you're having an awesome Sunday. Happy Father's Day again out there to all the papas. And Chuck, thanks, man. Thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, cool, man. Appreciate you.
Thanks, everyone.